Yes, we have seen in the first recording how Abraham utilized his riches. He was so loyal to God. He was so patient. He was so righteous. God appreciated Abraham and the way he behaved on earth. And as we speak, Abraham is in the Garden of Eden, waiting for the righteous of this generation, me inclusive, to go and inherit the kingdom of God. Now, that one is those are the two first ones. We have talked about Lot, and we have talked also about Abraham. Now we go to the third person. This was David. How did David behave with his wealth? David, first of all, was anointed to be a king of Israel, replacing Saul. After Saul committed some atrocities before God, disobeyed, and God left him, then he chose David to be the king or the next king in Saul's place. So Saul left the throne desperately when they had disagreed with God, because he had disobeyed. Took the sacrifices, or actually took the cows and women that God prohibited him to save, and saved them, and then pretended as if he was offering sacrifices, which God did not command him at first. So God refused Saul and his sacrifices. Then he chose David, who was also a shepherd, deep in the valley. That's where God called him from. And actually, he was not even known so much. He was one of the youngest. He was the youngest, I think, in the David's, in the Terah's family. So what he did was to actually to choose David. That was God. Now, David had a lot of wealth. As he entered the throne, David was kind of proud. Yes, because actually he was careful. Yes, during Saul's takeover or downfall, but later David developed some kind of pride when he had stepped onto the throne. His characters went on changing to the extent that David used to commit mistakes like this one, when he got rid of Uriah's wife and loved him, slept with her. In fact, he was upstairs on his palace, on the top of the roof, when he was trying to walk around and relax. And when he looked down, he saw the lady bathing in the bathroom. How do you look at a woman when she's bathing in the bathroom? He was so actually overwhelmed to the extent that he ordered his servants or subjects to bring that lady for him, right at the bed. And he slept with that woman. And she's the one who bore Solomon, the great. Let me call him the great according to what happened. So Solomon came out of that woman, but it was an iniquity. It was abominable before God. But then the child who came out was so blessed to the extent that he also turned out to be the king, the next king after David. So David did so, and so many other atrocities which I can't mention right now because I'm actually trying to associate wealth and God to explain to my viewers. So this is what David actually did. I have told you just one. I will tell you other atrocities he committed before his God next time when I get actually a moment like this one. So David grew old, but he had a lot of wealth also, David, and his reign went, passed through or passed on, when David grew too old, he actually called on his son and prayed for him. But before that, uh, David uh, David wanted to construct a temple for the Lord. And the Lord said, "No, David, after fighting so many wars, during Saul's reign, you have a lot of blood on your army. So you are not the suitable person to construct a temple for me, but rather your child, Solomon, will do so." And the time came when the prophet was told or ordered to go and anoint Solomon to be the next king after David. So when he reached there in the palace or on the throne, the woman he saw that he was supposed to marry was Pharaoh's sister. I mean, not actual sister, but daughter. The Pharaoh of Egypt had a daughter whom Solomon admired and brought that lady to the throne or to the palace and stayed with her until he even finished constructing his own house and the house of the Lord. This is what Solomon did. Now, Solomon was asked at one time by God, that Solomon, what can I do for you? Solomon said, Lord, what I can pray before you is the wisdom, to give me the wisdom that can help me to judge Israel, which you have given me to be its leader. If you can only do me a favor and give me the wisdom to actually judge and rule Israel and settle their disputes, you will have done something to me. Okay? God accepted and said, yes, Solomon, if this what you have prayed, you are asking me to do for you, you have asked for something precious, but I will even give you more than what you asked. I will give you the honor. I will give you the wealth. No one before you will be wealthier than you. No one will be wealthier than you in your generation, and no one will be wealthier than you, even when you are away. You see, I will give you honor, in addition to the wisdom you have asked for, and give you at the same time the riches or wealth which you have not acquired. Because I expected you to actually ask me to prolong your lifespan, but you didn't do so. So since you didn't ask for all those precious things I thought you would actually jump to, then here you are. Wisdom has been given to you more than any other king on earth, and the wealth has been also given to you. Then the honor has been given to you. To prove that Solomon was given a honor and all those we have mentioned above, is so many kings could come to Solomon's palace just to offer tributes, prizes, gifts, and also fetch wisdom from Solomon's palace. They used to get wisdom from Solomon to go and rule over their kingdoms. So they used to ask Solomon for wisdom. You see? So Solomon was given that and given time to reign or to rule over Israel. In fact, his reign took over 40 years. Yes, he ruled Israel for 40 years. Like his father, David also ruled Israel for 40 years. So was the son. So we are seeing that tycoon who was wealthy and who is still wealthy up to now, because he even surpassed those before him, those in his generation, and those in our generation. No one is wealthier than Solomon today. That's what God sweared before him. So I think you have seen, those are how many you count. So Solomon was given even beyond what he had asked. Yes. So I think you're following me slowly. I'm going on answering slowly by slowly, so that you get to understand what you asked me for. So, what else? We have Solomon constructing the temple of God. Whatever material Solomon used to construct the temple of the Lord as offered to was his own money. It was out of his wealth that he constructed the temple of the Lord. He used his own funds. Solomon solely got his funds, his own funds, and constructed the temple that which was constructed in Jerusalem. The Jerusalem temple was constructed by Solomon. When you look at the materials, you read those verses, you'll get to know them. There is a verse, we have another, these chapters actually. Read 1 Kings chapter 3 from verse 1 to 15. Then we have other verses. We have Genesis chapter 13 verse 2 to 12. That shows how Abraham and he got his wealth there with his nephew Lot. Then we go and look at First Kings chapter 5 verse 1 to the end. How Solomon vowed to construct a house for the Lord on his own account, no others. So what else? Verse 13, God gave him honor. God gave him the wealth. Verse 12, how much wisdom your ancestors, and no more in future will be wealthier than you. You see, all those were offered to Solomon as the king. Now, when we go ahead, Solomon made a mistake. We are trying to actually make comparisons between Solomon's wealth and God. Solomon made a mistake. One, by marrying the daughter of the Pharaoh of Egypt. Then secondly, Solomon married so many other women of so many clans. As you read those scriptures, you will see how this went with Solomon. Actually, he did what was before God, which was not good. So Solomon went ahead and married gentle women. He married 300 concubines and 700 women. Everyone knows this. After marrying those women changed Solomon's heart away from his God, only to worship their gods, offer sacrifices. That's how God got annoyed and prophesied bad things that would come or forecome to Solomon. So that's what Solomon did. And remember, God gave him the wisdom, God gave him the honor, God gave him the wealth, but that's what he paid in return. Right. What happens is when you go to the New Testament, that was the Old Testament. I wanted to begin there so that you get to know. There are so many wealthy guys in the Old Testament. I've not mentioned the Jobs. I've not mentioned the Josephs. I've not mentioned the Jacobs. But I've been brief. I've just utilized those few just to give you the picture. So, what happened? In the New Testament, when you read chapter 19 of Matthew, Matthew chapter 19, verse 16, right to 29, there was one youth or one boy who asked Jesus that what is amiss of me